Good morning and welcome to Daily Game Design. It is go time. Super Bowl Sunday. And I'm planning to go over to my friend Ronson's place for all or most of the game. I'm not invested. In fact, I'm wearing my Buffalo Bills t-shirt in protest. With no particular target of that protest. Anyway, so I've got an hour of streaming, or maybe a little less. I got to prep for a meeting at 10. We're talking about the retreat this morning. Hopefully get a fair amount done. And then I still have classwork to do. So for sure need to make sure my class is updated, which will potentially affect how much time I'll go spend at the Super Bowl. I'm also tempted to check out an RPG that some friends are playing. Oh, by the way, I spent some time working with Gemini to try to come up with some ideas for a new logo, some new artwork, and I think this turned out pretty good. It represents the west side pretty nicely. The color's not great. In fact, it probably should be a little lighter right now. And the sun is sort of in a weird spot. It should be out over here. But it does kind of look like the west side. On your drive up, you see the mountains off to the right. You're going along the shore. You got the ocean off to your left, and sunset is off over the ocean. So that's the only thing that is a little bit odd about this. Otherwise, I really like it. And I like that it's suggestive of games only in the sense that it's made of hexes. So I think that's actually pretty cool. So it took a while to work on some of these ideas. I did download a few. A few other. Let me find examples of how this turned out. That's not bad. I don't know what these lines are at the top and bottom. So that's just like a regular post size, and then here's a story size. Started sharing this with people. The link goes to our link list that has, it's like for Cabletop Games and the retreat, so I have a bunch of stuff on there. Anyway, spent some time doing that. That was exciting. Let's see what else. Oh, I joined a game night last night up at PIBC, Pacific Islands or Islander, Pacific something, PI Bible Church. It was up in Mililani. It's like a 30-minute drive for me, but they play once a month. Anyway, met some really fun people. And there were some young people there, so it was kind of fun to start. Like, people broke up into their games, and I initiated Cheating Moths, and then after that, we played Fit to Print with this little group of 4, and then, okay, so Cheating Moth, Fit to Print, Flip 7, and I think everybody had a really good time, really fun personalities. There were 4 of us at that table. Then we moved over to play Captain Sonar, and a couple things about that game. First of all, it's the same kind of personalities. Here we are with Captain Sonar. Really fun and funny people. And like, our captain was this kid. It seems like he's in middle school. And he was just like goofy and like not paying attention to the rules, the teach and all that. And then there were these 3 guys over here. The middle one, also very goofy, just like a funny, quirky guy. And so we decided to play turn by turn. And during the rules teach, I heard a rule and I thought, I don't think that's it. And it had to do with the engineer. Anyway, so I was sitting next to the engineer, and Anyway, we had our team of 4. They had a team of 3, and just because I think there was a little confusion about how things worked as we played. We played turn by turn, but turns took a pretty long time, so this is absolutely the longest and slowest game of Captain Sonar I've ever played and I could ever imagine playing. And in fact, I hope they didn't feel like I lost it during the game, but at one point I just kind of took on a little more serious demeanor and said, turns really should be taking about 10 seconds. And it'd be nice to, get it done, play another game. And I wasn't that frustrated, but I was like, let's get back into game mode. Let's get through this. Let's make it happen. Because there was a lot of sitting around and kind of waiting for everybody to finish up whatever they were doing and talking about. And so I was trying to push the game forward. I didn't feel that frustrated. I didn't feel a lot of tension. So hopefully I didn't come across as super pushy. But it was very odd that the game stalled out so bad. And we weren't taking great notes, and I don't know. The whole thing was what is happening here? What are we actually doing here? So anyway, still fun to be with those people. And there's a fella over here that I'm going to be connecting with to share some information about the retreat. But also I learned that there are other churches that are running gaming events. And so I brought it up to him already that it'd be really cool to do a worship and gaming weekend. We don't do that at the retreats. Most of our people are not Christian. And the retreat weekend is really a focus on gaming and community. I think if we were to do a more church or Christian-centered event, then, and it was obviously that's what this is about, I think that'd be really neat. And we would figure out a way to do the food, to have a worship, service. We get a nice worship band going. We bring in a speaker. We do a couple of sessions. But then surrounding all those things would be gaming, and I think that'd be really neat. In fact, I've heard about groups doing this. I see groups posting about their events online on the Christian Board Gamers Facebook group. The thing is, the events they talk about are kind of more similar to the retreat, but they're marketing to Christians, so it will have a more Christian flavor. Whereas we're just an open group that welcomes. We're not. The event we put on is not necessarily intended for a Christian audience at this point. It's more just a diverse, inclusive audience. Okay. Also, this is from the playtest last night.
Alright. Showtime.
So I took the game over to Armchair, where it was Kaleo's birthday. So we celebrated Kaleo's birthday. We had some food. This was also interesting. It was his first ever birthday party. He turned 40. It was his first ever birthday party. My parents, we would have had parties and stuff, but these days I feel like I kind of organize my own birthday parties. There was, I think, once when a friend maybe took over, maybe twice since I've been here. And I feel like there was a surprise at some point. But that stuff is super rare. So anyway, I've had birthday parties. But it was kind of interesting to support somebody who's having their first ever birthday party. Anyway, after food, I sat down with Megan and Chase, and we went through South Shore Vibes, which I really should change to Party Wave. I think the mood is captured much better in Party Wave. So I'll just make that official call right now. One thing I did before I went over there, one thing I updated was the size of the hexes. In my older, the older version of it, the older version, I I played myself. Actually, my small dice are at the conference office right now, or Mondays, where we host at Mondays. And so I had these like big clear dice that are really beautiful. Actually, I really like that they're clear. They suggest water. My little ones are clear too, but anyways, these probably actually stack a little better than the little ones. So anyway, I blew up the hexes. So that was one thing I fixed before going over. Shrunk down this area where we just line up the dice. That worked fine. So overall, they said the game was fine. I mean, they were being positive about it. They said they might be interested in playing again, or they would play again. But I think the movement was not clear enough for them to really get engaged and to be thinking in tactics. So I want to find a way to represent movement better. However, I should say in general, the game is working. I don't know that it's good, but it definitely worked, and I feel like once people understand how movement works more clearly, I think the decisions will feel more interesting. Because there really are some kind of cool, like with the mechanics, the way this works, where a player can get kind of just slide down this way. It does create some kind of neat opportunities for for like getting on the wave, flying down here, and then cutting in and doing, or getting an advantage here and then jumping over behind and then maybe rushing down. One thing, this was another thing I actually changed and updated before. So you can go, this is also something I think they didn't quite understand. You can move any number of spaces in a straight line, but it gets more and more expensive as you move. So that was something that I would need to clarify. So this movement thing didn't make it obvious that you could like jump, that you could jump around. So I need to find a way to represent this more clearly. And I think I just had an idea. Very simple idea, which is just to move these out here. Oh, one thing I could do too. I don't think I have a great way of doing this. Shouldn't have been all the way to the back. So one thing could be, like I wanted to, how would I do a gradient? Oh, wait a minute. Can you do gradients? You can. This is, how do you, are there options for the gradients? Okay, like this is better maybe. Not terrible. I'd kind of like it to be, I know that there were other shapes. Gradient shape. Like this one. So this kind of just works like a mask, really. And just change the color to white. But let me shrink it and see if this works better. So this would just be black. Okay, so I could move it around a little bit. Let me Let me try that a little bit first, actually. The only thing is you can't, it looks like you can't actually like spin it in a direction that you really want. Like what? This is it. There are no more options. But that kind of works. I was hoping for a version that sort of fell off a little sooner. Maybe this is going to work actually just like this. Because if I bring it in, it'll be most intense. Then just make it white. Oh, but the background is not white. The background is gray. So do I need, oh, I guess I just make it the same color as the background. Does that hit the target? Maybe. I'm gonna try this again. Oh, I guess I could group these. I wanted to do the overlapping and then pop this out on top. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know if this is any better. I think this would need to be just like really clarified in the rules. I guess this is not bad. Like that. This takes up more space, which I don't love. I guess it doesn't have to. Should be 120. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure why the angle is not perfect, but not a huge deal. Maybe bring in a little bit more. I just love this process. Like as I was talking with Megan and Chase yesterday, and we're just like brainstorming different stuff, and like people are having ideas I hadn't thought of, and it's just so fun. And when I sat with the guys, I went over Friday night and just kind of hung out outside the store. Sat with the guys, and they're just not that interested. They didn't want to try it. Like, I don't know. I guess, everybody's got their different preferences, but I just love the process. And for the most part, if I can sit in on somebody's game and give some feedback, like I'm gonna do it. But that's just that's my interest. That's my mentality on the whole thing. And I totally understand that not everybody's as excited about it. It was actually the first person I saw that was kind of like that. Like he very much was not interested in playtesting, and he says that. Like he's very open about it, and I think he just wants to play something that's complete. And you're not stressing about, wait, is this how things are supposed to go? Is this, what do I do here? Is this a rule that's going to change, or do I really kind of buy into what's happening and kind of get emotionally invested? I wonder if that's part of it. Is like you don't really want to be involved in something that's kind of out of control because it's not even done. Like it's not really a game yet. So maybe you would just be more comfortable if you played something that you had confidence in. It wouldn't be like a bad experience. You don't have to give feedback to somebody. You don't have to like perform and like act like you liked it or whatever. Maybe that's part of it. I don't know. This I don't love right here. But it works. It's tiny. I don't necessarily love this font. But that might be a little better. And let me maybe add some arrows now. Hmm. To arrow. Let's see how this works. Hmm. Oops. Let me flip it. That wasn't right. But it'll work. I guess I can do a curved arrow, right? That wouldn't be in graphics. That would be in shapes, I think. My parents are up in Canada right now, doing wintry stuff with a bunch of friends. Kind of jealous of them. There's been a kind of a little cold snap. The weather got kind of crazy here this weekend, and so it's a little bit chilly. But I am still sitting with my I still have a fan blowing on me. I definitely don't need it right now. But they're up enjoying Winterlude. I don't know that they do any Winterlude stuff anymore near Ottawa. We used to go every year and skate on the canal. Not snate. I think a curve would also be good here. I think so. So I'm gonna try my curve the other way and head out here. One thing I actually toyed with as an idea was not showing all these options, because if the rule is like going in a straight line, you can move as far as you want, but there's a different cost, and I think that the reason there has to be a different cost going down is like, going down is where all the rewards are. So if you're going to move down, it's going to be more expensive. So I thought, well, okay, maybe I can't. Yeah, but going sideways, it shouldn't be as expensive. So then I thought, well, maybe I can just have like going down and one side, but I can't because then players will just assume you can only go one direction. Unless, you know what, unless why am I doing this? Why is it a different cost to go further? I don't think it needs to be. I just thought of that. It's just gonna have to be super worth it. Oh wait. No, this is going away. I probably will revert to. Yeah, why is that angle slightly off? I feel like I'll probably revert to the plus something because like this will be +2 now. So this will end up being +3. Yeah, so maybe just the 2 is fine, and just making sure that this cost feels right. Because honestly, it might be too expensive. To rush down and go 6, that's kind of crazy. Right? But at least I have more space to work with here. I can make everything a little bigger. Yeah, so this should be plus. Oh, you know what? Should I make it even easier? Wait a second. So going right, cutting back is also better. So what if it's two? Actually, let me just copy this then. So if it's 2, 3, and 1. Oh, yikes. I like that a lot. It's kind of crazy, but I do like it. Then I can also come down here. Does it just look too weird with like these little spider legs sticking out? Maybe I don't love this. Let's say it's straight. And I think I want to make it a little bigger. Okay, and then from here, maybe do. It's almost like this should get covered as well. Right, like what if this gets covered? Okay, I think I like this. But how can I just quickly reproduce it? If I do that, right? What? 1, 2, 3. Get this out of here. Yeah, I thought shifts would do that. Did not. Get rid of these guys. Get rid of this. Straighten that up in a second. This looks better. I thought this was supposed to be locked. And what's up with these arrows? Really, the wind is kind of crazy. Like I heard stuff getting pushed around upstairs. Okay. And then I think this is not grouped anymore, is it? Nice. And this just comes on top. Yes. I think that's much clearer. The other great thing about this is that I have more room. Okay, so the other thing that was not working was making it super clear how movement works. I mean how turn order works. So I can put a little turnover turn order description over here. You know what was kind of interesting too? It's that I think I might shrink these because so I had the thought yesterday that maybe I should just add the other abilities that are already on the cards. Yeah, because right now it's just the 3, but I could add. Let me go. Here are the cards. I could add this one. You know, I should probably just grab these just like this. Lock this for now. This will go away, and this will go. Actually, I can make the gray one in a second. But if I drop these in, so rolling. Let me just do this. Rolling will still be -1, and then I can have. I can have the +1 -1 equal like cost 2. And then re-rolling. If I give a lot of control to players, huh. Let me just add one more right now anyway. If I give a lot of control to players to manage their own dice, then I don't really need they don't really need the ability to reroll the neutral dice. Oops. I wish there was I don't know, there might be controls for it, but I wish there was a way to just move why didn't these should all be even, right? What, I wonder why. I thought I had all four clicked. No. Okay. So I can add the other abilities like this. So, yeah, so I don't really need the reroll the neutral dice one. Oh wait, this is good. I don't know. This might actually be a little too much flexibility, honestly. I'm just not too sure. Like, as long as it's expensive, I guess it's okay. Because three is pretty expensive. But the +1 -1, I think by doing this, I actually make like tactics become more relevant. The problem is some people might get caught up in like calculating stuff. And so in a way, dealing with more randomness might actually be better. Like maybe picking a die face should not be possible. My friend Eric just sent me a video. I wrote a song for an event. What was that? It wasn't summer camp. It was some event. And anyway, a bunch of kids sang it for church this past weekend. So a few people sent me some videos. Very sweet. Eric's looks like it's the first full video I'll watch. So anyway, that's a cool thing. Okay, and then the last ability was to check or to choose a die face. Man, I almost feel like this is just too much control. For 4, maybe nobody's gonna do it. It's the same thing I was thinking about when I made the cards the other day. Because if you play 3, you get every number but 1. So for the most part, a 3 is going to cover you. Right? There might be a very rare case when it's the one number that's not on that list of 2 away where you have to spend 4 and pick it. So anyway, so you can do it. You can do it, but it's not going to feel good. But 5 sounds a little too steep. In other words, you could spend 2 and then spend 3 and cover every face on the die, but that sounds sad. How do I say, oh. Any number. I think I need to write any number in here. Any number. Tiny. Ooh. Shrink this. I'm actually going to take this back under the cards. I really wish I didn't. I have to always feel like I need to make these little tweaks, but they are important. For player experience. I don't know if they use the skills a whole lot. They kind of did. They used a couple times. The thing is, I really don't know about making it so easy to control. I feel like several people will just be caught up in calculation, which I think would be pretty sad. But I'll still have them choose a die face. What I like about this though is that now the abilities on the cards are more like it's more obvious. Their value's more obvious. Because when I think when we played yesterday and then just in general, like I know that there's value, like the value is differentiated, or cards are differentiated by the skill cards by the value of the abilities relative to the shapes that they can make, or the shapes that the card is asking them to make. If those shapes are more costly in terms of movement, they get better abilities, which I think is, that makes sense. I think it's good. And then I also like that the abilities are over here, like listed over here. Actually, this should probably hang off just like what I do for the corners here now. Corners 12. Here the corner is, let's make this one 12 too. And then I can have it hang off just like this other one. I don't know that it needs to be this big. Let me get a little closer to the edge. Okay, so these numbers, confusing and irrelevant. Because this was gonna be for like solo stuff. But what I can do is I can use them for how we check for turn order. Try to get that out of the way a little more. Yeah, I can put turn order down here. I wonder the best way to do this is probably just maybe these 5. Shrink them down. Okay. Color is not important. Because I don't think tidy up fixes this. Oops. So why does that look so far off? Okay, that looks good. Okay, I really do need to transition away because we're starting the call in 5 minutes. Let me just grab, maybe finish this with an arrow. Okay. Turn order. Not perfect, but it's definitely something. Okay, I'll work on that later. Yeah, well, thanks for hanging out with me. Always good to be productive. I will see you soon. Bye bye for now.